So, what you see before you is 4 Sega Genesis cartridges. And they are Sid Meier's Pirates, a game called Aerobiz, Gemfire, which I think is some kind of strategic RPG, and Uncharted Waters. These are all games I got either... Actually, I got them all in one package. A guy was trying to trade these into GameStop. GameStop, did their thing where they're like, yeah, we'll give you like a quarter for all of them. And he, in no uncertain terms, told the employees to go F themselves. Walked right out of there, and I offered him a $25 Target gift card for all the games that he had, and he took it. So I got a ton of Genesis games and a few NES games, and that's actually where this comes from right here. This was one of those NES games that I got from the guy. And nowadays I just kind of use it to, store junk. Well, more specifically, I use it to, hold things, like screws or, solder or whatever. Anyways, main point of that little ramble there is these 4 games in particular have something about them. You might already know what it is, especially if you bothered to read the title of the video. All 4 of these games have save batteries. And what do save batteries like to do? That's right, they like to die. So, my goal for this video is to replace the save batteries, not with new pre-tabbed batteries. Ideally, I would like to replace it with a socket. Oh, so that way, when the batteries die again, we can just open the cartridge, pop the battery out, put a new one in. Easy. Hopefully easy. So, let's get cracking, guys. I've got my soldering equipment on standby. Gonna get my sponge wet here. Really wish I had a sink out in the garage. That would make this way easier. But as is, I kind of just have a bottle of water that I'd like to pour on it. So, see, it just gets like a little bit of a moist spot. And I have this bottle that's been out here for probably 2 or 3 months now. And instead of pouring it out, I just keep using it for this because, it's not like the water that I need for soldering needs to be fresh or anything. It can be a little stale and gross with plastic leaching. There's no reason it's got to be clean. After all, we're not drinking from it. And, of course, the mighty soldering iron. Now, I'm just going to make the request that I don't want anybody to complain about my soldering methods. Yes, they're not going to be the way you would do it necessarily, and they're not going to be expert tier either. I need an extension cord. I realize these things, you should realize these things. Different people do things different ways, blah, 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 blah. Just be respectful, okay? That's all I ask. Alright. Let's go ahead and... Okay. So, while the soldering iron heats up, I'll take 3 of these away and leave the one that I already opened. Now, I actually started this project before I'd planned to start filming this kind of stuff. And as you can see, I've already taken out the battery. Here's where it goes, 2 little leads there. And the positive goes on this end, negative goes on this end. You can tell because there's a little plus on the board. So, let me get my soldering hand out. This is something that other YouTubers who do this kind of work use. So I thought, hey, I should get one of these. And so I did. And to be perfectly honest with you, it does what it says on the tin. It holds stuff for you. But I'm not 100% happy with it for various reasons. I don't really feel like going into them right now, but You know, it's okay, it's fine. It does what it needs to do. I just think if I had designed it, I would have done it a little differently, is all. Well, maybe it's also the fact that this thing's cheap. And you get what you pay for, as they say. And honestly, I can't be too mad about that. Because like I said, it does what it says on the tin, which is hold stuff in place while you work on it. So I'm just going to use a little... Whoa. See, that's one of the reasons I'm not a big fan of this thing. Is if you want to stop it from rotating while you're working, you have to like park it, which you can't. Here, I'll show you what you have to do. You have to like twist this thing and this thing, and now it doesn't move as easily. And that's great for while you're working on something, but if you need to rotate it, well, you're kind of stuck. You can't. You just can't rotate it. Which I think is a particularly big negative, but... Oh, shit. Yeah. Tighten this a little more. Yeah. That's kind of the other thing, too, is... I wish this... If I were to redesign this thing, I would make it have a rotate lock that's just like a switch or something. You know, just some kind of mechanical brake that stops it from moving instead of this weird screw setup that it's got. Because the screw thing doesn't work particularly well either. I don't think my soldering iron's hot enough yet for this, because it's still not really making the dent I was hoping for. And hey, I'm going to use the iPod back half to store the clipped pieces of solder wick here. Since, you know, this thing caused me so much grief already, I'm just going to desecrate its corpse a little for funsies. Yeah, there we go. But if it came down to it, would I recommend this to people? It depends on your use case, I'd say. I'd say, you know, if you just are going to lightly be tapping something, then it's probably fine. But my cheap soldering iron works as such that I have to apply pressure. And this isn't fond of having pressure applied to it. So, get a better soldering iron, or make this have a lock. Either way, I think that would make this a much more compelling product. But now, here comes the interesting part. So, I've got the holes opened up. You can see the background through them. Well, maybe. Now I've got to figure out how I'm going to get these little pins to fit and not clash with anything. Which is one of the problems I was having before, was figuring out the best way to do that without damaging either the holder or parts of the cartridge. And I think that ought to do it right there. So I'm going to do a quick test fit to make sure that's going to work. Ah, wait, no, that's the back. Works better if you do it from the front. And sorta. Yeah, it's a little too big. So this style, get out of there. So this particular style is not going to work. Fortunately, I have this style too. This style is a lot more low profile. The only problem with that is, well, the fact that it's so low profile means that these little tabs here, right there, and then you can see there's this tiny little gold piece here. Those are what needs to make proper contact. And that involves usually bending them out a little, which ordinarily isn't that big of a deal. In fact, I kind of want to try it a different way than I've done it in the past. Not the vice grips. There we go. So I'm going to try using these pliers to bend it and see if maybe... Yeah, okay. That worked easier. That's the one that usually breaks off, so that's actually a relief that bent so easy. Who would have thought using tools appropriately can help save you time and energy? Hey. But now we run into another problem. So the positive end is in, no problem. The negative end doesn't go back far enough to reach into this through hole, which means I need a way to bend that piece out without damaging this piece here. And unfortunately, I haven't really found a better way to do it other than just ramming something in here and bending that metal. Which, you know, considering how thin it is, risks snapping it off. So you just have to be very gentle. Go very slowly. Bend the metal, small increments, until you can get it in the hole. Yeah, or else that will happen. And you can work around it. Yeah, so if that snaps off, you can actually work even with that snapped off. The only thing is, it's not an elegant solution. It's actually a very inelegant solution. And it mostly involves just filling this through hole with solder until it reaches the other side. Yeah, like I said, it's not elegant. Let's do a quick test fit and make sure that's not going to interfere. And hey, look at that. That fits just fine. So if we can get this battery holder to stay, then we should be in pretty good shape. So let me just... really? Okay, there we go. Get this held again. Now, the easiest way to do this is to use some of this. Oh, also I should mention, this is not a how-to. Even though I'm kind of explaining how to do this, don't take this as a how-to video. This is more just me explaining it because if you have no idea what I'm doing, you're going to get lost. But those of you who are looking for, you know, some kind of tech guru to guide you through the steps on this, that's not what this video is intended to be. This video is more just for entertainment purposes. Yeah, so let's go with that. Entertainment purposes. All right. Yeah, so see, this Kapton tape is very nice. It's heat resistant, which is by far one of the best things about it. Unfortunately, sometimes you get a situation like this where it's just a little too wide and runs over where you need the solder. Fortunately, in addition to being heat resistant, it's also very easy to cut. Or maybe that's an unfortunate thing. I guess it depends on the circumstance, but for our purposes, that's a very fortunate thing, because it means it's way easier. So let me get a little bit of let me get some solder. Nice rosin core here. And I actually have a flux pen that I like to use. It's this one. I'm going to have to order a new one of these, because unfortunately this one's a little busted and spilled a ton of its juice out, which, you know, that was awesome when that happened. So you just kind of act like that's a marker and color it in, and then we can just put some solder down right here, like that. there. And that's literally all it takes to attach that side. So now, yeah, look at that. I'm moving it with my fingers, and notice it's not coming up. So that means that side is a nice, solid connection. The problem now is the other side. How on earth are we going to get this to connect? Well, you got a couple options. And honestly, about the best one that I found is to kind of stick some solder up and through, and then use your soldering iron to get it to melt up here. And that will, more or less anyway, kind of create a channel for it. So then when you come to this side, you can go like that, force some in, and if it went right, it looks like it needs a little more encouragement here. Okay. Let's see if that worked. Because basically what you're trying to do is get the solder from below to meet the solder from up here and join together, which I would like to reiterate is much easier said than done. But let's make sure it worked. And the best way to do that is just take a multimeter, stick it into continuity mode. So, this little off screen, let's put it here. And then we'll just, yep, see, continuity. We'll put one probe over here on that contact and one over here on the back, like that, and see if it dings. And if it dings, it worked. If it doesn't, we need to do more. Okay, so notice it's not dinging. That should be dinging. So, didn't quite work. So there's a couple options you can take. I think the easiest one is to kind of attack it from the side here. Heat that up. It should carry some of that down. Yeah, you can see on this side that it's not connecting properly. So if this doesn't work, don't worry, there is another way that you can make it work. And the answer is a paper clip, which I believe I actually threw away the paper clip I used for this because I'm an idiot. I sure did, but there's more out here. I'm going to go get one real quick. Okay, got a paper clip. So, the way you do this is actually kind of a hack, I think. But it works, so I won't question it. What you do is you push the paper clip in, like that. We're going to melt this solder up here, so the paper clip can come through. And yeah. So the idea is we want to use the solder and the paper clip together to kind of bind it up here, with the goal of it making contact. If it makes contact, then we're okay. If it doesn't make contact, then we'll either need to apply more solder. Okay, I think that's making contact. Then you go to the other side here, and you move around some of this solder, or add a little more if needed. Kind of fill in the rest of the gaps over here. Yeah, like that. Okay. Now the question is, I'm going to add a little bit here because it doesn't look like it quite matched up. Come on. Melt the solder, please. Melt it to right there. Okay. Okay, now that the solder has dried, let's do a quick measurement. See, it's still in continuity mode. Now we're going to place it here and on the solder pad in the rear. And as you can see, there's now a reading. I'm telling you, man, the paperclip trick works wonders for this type of thing. So you can just take a pair of cutters and just do that. And voila. And if you, I don't know how well you can see that, but it doesn't really stick out any more than the, there we go, other components do, especially after you trim it a little. Now you can peel this back and check it out. You've got a battery socket. Hooray! And yep, it's nice and solid. You don't got to worry about that. See, nice and solid. Nice and solid. So the nice thing is now you're never going to have to worry about this game again. Because all you really need to do, oops, is take a battery, like that one, open it up from its prison, open it up from its prison, there we go. And then you can just take this and slide it in. Like that. Like that. And as you can see, you got a battery in there. Now let's say all that movement worried you and you want to double check there's still continuity. Okay, let's do that real quick. I'm going to stick that piece on there, this piece over here. As you can see, continuity still. We're good. That's a successful battery replacement right there. And thanks to the socket, it'll last a heck of a lot longer too. Especially since now, next time the battery dies, you don't gotta go looking for a tabbed battery to replace it with. I gotta find these screws. I think I know where they are. I think they're over here. Let me see. Yep. Being that these are Genesis games, they use these game bits. Oh great, that means I'm going to need a socket, and I'm going to need the little doogie, the little bit. And is it the smaller bit, or is it the bigger bit? It is the bigger bit. Okay. Small bit, small bit. There it is, big bit. Get off there. Okay. Yep, that one fits. Stick it in here. And there it goes. Now we can screw the cartridge back together again. So yeah, nice and easy. No, wrong way. So that's kind of the gist of what we're doing here today. So if you found that interesting and you want to stick around while I do more, feel free. We're going to have a good time, you and me. Although it occurs to me, I think before I put this back together, I'm going to clean it up a little. Just because who knows when the last time the contacts on this thing were cleaned, right? For all I know, it could have been, you know, since the factory. And seeing how this guy's NES games got treated, I would not at all be surprised if the Genesis games could use this extra bit of cleaning that they're going to get. Alright, so I'll just take a Q-tip and some isopropyl alcohol from my newly reorganized shelf. Things are much better out here. Okay. Put that there for the moment. Put the lid on in case something happens. Ugh. And let's just clean that up. See what kind of junk comes off of here. Actually, it's coming out pretty clean, I'd say. Well, that's good. At least we know his Genesis games were treated better than his NES ones. Yeah, I don't remember if he said it was his dog or his girlfriend's dog that chewed these things up, but man, whoever it was, whoever's animal it was, no bueno, to say the least. Okay, I'm going to move the hands out of the way for a minute so I can put this back together easier. There we go. And we'll go ahead and get this thing back together. And in case you're wondering, I don't plan on playing these games. I'm mainly doing this because Henry was curious about them. Although, now that he doesn't have a Genesis in his room anymore, I guess we're just kind of doing this for the sake of doing it. Well, I mean, it's probably better that we do it rather than not, you know? Okay, and I guess they always felt a little rowdy. Okay, well, Aerobiz is done. Let's move on to Gemfire, shall we? This one, you'll get to see the, what is that called? You'll get to see the old battery in here still. Ooh, exciting. I know you all were super hyped to see that. So if you've never seen the inside of a Genesis game that saves before, allow me to show you. Ta-da! Ta-da! See, it's got like this little tab on the top and a tab on the bottom that you can't really see. Resistor, 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 capacitor. Let's look at the chips in here, shall we? I actually don't know what most of these are. Like, I can take some educated guesses, but I won't know with 100% certainty what these are. That one up there, I'm going to say, is probably the save RAM, based on its location. Is that tied to the battery leads? Sorta? It's hard to tell. But I think that's probably, either that or that is the save RAM. One of these chips on here is a mapper. And then another one is this mask ROM. And then I don't know what the fourth chip is. Maybe something to control the save data? Like I said, I'm just taking an educated guess because I'm really not sure. I haven't done a lot of Genesis games, if that's not apparent. Despite my absolute love and adoration of Sega's 16-bit machine, there's not, like, at least from the titles I play, there's not all that many that actually use save batteries. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's plenty of great games that do use save batteries, but not the ones I play. So yeah. In case you're wondering why I'm adding solder, it mixes with the older stale solder and makes it easier to remove. And I didn't believe that at first and tried to go at it alone without that, and you know, I'm just going to say it actually does make it significantly easier. So yeah, look at that. Look how easily all that came up. Yeah, that's a huge difference. And I know me just saying that it makes it easier doesn't really give you a good idea of how much easier, but the fact that that was so effortless compared to before when you saw me like putting a lot of pressure down, let that be your visual aid as to how effective that method is. And yeah, and look at that. Slowly crawling up the solder wick. On the other side too. Yeah. Okay. So we'll go ahead and cut that bit off too. And now the way I kind of like to get the battery off is I'll take something like, there we go, take something like this pick here, and I'll kind of lift on one leg and see if it comes up. Ah, okay, so it is kind of coming up on the negative side, but not the positive. Yeah, look, that negative leg is ready to come out. I think a little bit more solder wick would help. Oh, shit. Oh no, I burnt my $5 PlayStation mat. Whatever will I do? And, yeah, I didn't get the mat because I was worried about the wood getting damaged or whatever. This is just plywood up here. I did it more so it would look better on camera. Because I think the wood was kind of ugly, but I don't know, that's just what I was thinking. If you guys missed the wood, I guess, comment that you miss my wood if you miss the wood. Yeah, because nobody will ever take that out of context. Alright, get up. There we go. And yoink. That came up nice and easy. Oh, I scratched the board a little bit. Well, that should be okay. And now that one leg is up, you can kind of just heat the other side and wiggle it until it comes free. Like that. And another save battery successfully amputated into the battery box. Yeah. And yeah, you can see I scratched it up a little bit here, but that's okay. There's no traces there for one, so I don't have to worry about any electrical interference. But also, it's going to be covered up by the battery thing anyway, so not super worried about that, honestly. Oops. One of my screwdrivers fell out. Alright, so same game as before. We're just going to try and not break either of the things this time. So, yep, that'll bend nice and easy. This one you have to be more careful with, because if you push down on here, you can actually rip that whole bottom contact piece off. And once that happens, you're just kind of screwed. The battery the battery holder is just no good anymore after that. You have to start over. There we go. Bend that a little. Okay. And just like before, just nice and easy. Yeah, no. Come on. Oh, shoot. Okay. So remember what I was saying before. I think this is going to be one that we can actually let solder just go through and it should make contact. We'll find out if that's true or not. But I think because of where that tab broke, that should be the case. But again, there's only one way to find out. And that's to try it out. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to make sure the top half kind of stays more or less where I want it to go for the final placement here. Yeah, see, I want it to stay there. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's apply a little bit of this stuff. We'll worry about the other side later. Make sure that's still where I want it to be. Not quite. Okay, that should be it. Okay, here comes some solder. Yeah, just for whatever reason, These battery holsters, man. Like, I don't remember where I got the recommendation for these, but like, they work for this purpose, but it's very clearly not what they were designed to do. You know what I mean? So just kind of, they work, but only so well. I think I need new tape too. I think that tape has just lost its stick, which is fine. It did what it was supposed to, so I'm not upset. I'm going to try the more passive method first. Let's see if I can't get some solder to make contact down here. Yep, definitely can. Don't know if you can see that, but the bottom half has a bit of silver over the gold from where the solder is. And I can take advantage of the fact that solder attracts itself to kind of push more through this hole. And it should, keyword should, end up making contact on the other side. Ah, clever. Okay. Let's see if my little nefarious plan worked. So we'll flip it to the other side. And that feels pretty loose. I don't think that worked. Let me try heating it up from this side and see if I can't get that to line up. And yeah, there's going to be a little bit of melted plastic smell. It's inevitable. Oh shoot, that hurt. Yeah, I knocked this piece a little loose, and yeah, that tried to hurt. Okay, I think that worked. So let's test it. A little continuity test here. We're going to start with positive this time. And yep, okay, there's the continuity. Next, we'll test the negative side. Okay, no continuity. That's okay. I kind of expected that. Paperclip. Alright. Try to push paperclip through here. Okay, sorry about that. I was just getting reminded that I have to walk the dog. Which, you know, yeah, I do. That poor boy ain't gonna walk himself, right? Okay. Ooh, okay, this is interesting. I'm looking at it from kind of a cross section here. And, oh, shoot, that's hot. Okay. I believe that should be making contact now. I'm going to test it real quick and make sure it is. So really, I could touch anywhere on the paper clip if it worked. Yep, okay, that's continuity. Telling you, man. These jerry-rigged solutions. Oh, that's the wrong cutters. These jerry-rigged solutions, they work. They work. And you may as well use them. Because, like, you know, if it's what you have at your disposal, you may as well just, you know, make it happen. Uh-oh. That came apart. Oh no, I was afraid of that. Okay, hold on. I'm going to try to use the pick to hold this in place while applying a little bit of downward pressure on that. Whoa. Okay, that didn't quite work. Get that back in there. Okay. I'm going to do another quick test to make sure continuity is still going there. Which, okay. Yep, okay, continuity's still good. Okay, yeah, so it had just popped out is all. Yeah, getting these holders on is frustrating. And believe me when I say, because I did this for a couple of, at least 1 or 2 SNES cartridges as well, and quite a few NES cartridges actually. And believe me when I say, this is one of those things that, despite all your instincts telling you the opposite, this is not an activity that gets easier the more you do it. You kind of fall into a rhythm the more you do it. So I suppose in that way, you know, you get more used to doing it, but it doesn't really get easier. And that's really oh shoot. As soon as I put the battery in, it broke. Okay, that's not good. Alright, come back out, battery. Okay, back out. Yeah, and I think the whole reason that happened is, simply put, I'm going to try to push this through a little. So, okay. So I got the paper clip jutting up, and I can just spread a little bit of solder to that. Ew, what the heck got on there? I think that's probably plastic. Okay, hold on, I'm going to put this back in the fingers real quick. Oh, shoot. I gotta loosen this. Oh, apparently my ability to loosen that piece has broke. Great. That's wonderful. You're supposed to be able to loosen that spring-loaded side. Okay. That should be enough. Yeah, that's pretty solid now. Let's see if putting a battery in breaks it again. Because as long as that doesn't happen, we should be good. Okay. Nope, yep, that's staying solid. Okay. Good. Now, let's do some cleanup. Okay. Yeah, you really should be replacing the save batteries every few years on your cartridges. Well, I say every few. It depends on the type of save battery and all that good stuff, but just know at some point in time they're gonna need replaced, and you're gonna have to do it. And I will be the first one to tell you, it's not, you know, the most thrilling of tasks in the world, but it's maintenance. It's like how you have to take your car in to get an oil change, or if you have a Tesla, get tires occasionally, you know, just that kind of thing. Actually, I think Teslas have brake pads they need to have changed too. But yeah, it's not a glamorous job, but people will sure appreciate you for doing it, because nobody else wants to do this. And again, not because it's hard or anything, it's just, it takes a minute. It takes a minute, it's a little tedious. Yeah. Once again, I'm trying to put it in backwards. There we go. Yeah, it's tedious, it takes a minute, but you know what? At the end of the day, you get your cartridge in a playable state again, and frankly, I think that's worth it. Oh, but for reference on how good of a deal I got, one of the games that was included, one of the NES games that I got from that guy, because it was mostly Genesis games. I think it was 2 or 3 NES games. But one of the games that I got, one of the NES games, was Dragon Warrior. And that game goes for quite a bit of money. You might know Dragon Warrior by its more modern name of Dragon Quest. Yes, it's part of that series. In fact, it was the very first entry in that series. And yes, I did replace the battery in it the same way I'm doing for all these. You don't gotta worry about that. Okay, Uncharted Waters is next. So, I'm also going to completely be transparent with you guys and say this is not the video I had actually planned on releasing this week. I had a completely different one in mind, but because of very unfortunate circumstances, that video is postponed for the foreseeable future. And you'll see why when that video comes out. But it was my own dumb fault, so don't feel too bad for me. And hey, look at that. Once again, looks the same as the others. You know, with how clean the contacts are on this, like the fact that there's very little wear on them even, I'm almost willing to bet that the former owner of this didn't play these games all that much. But, I mean, I guess a lot of these more simulation-y style games weren't super popular back in those days, so I guess I see why. And it's not like any of these games that I'm fixing here, at least to my knowledge, are particularly valuable today either. Or, you know, sought after, really. These are just games we happen to have, and, you know, may as well do the maintenance. Keep them healthy. Keep them working. I am curious. Oh, shoot. See, I really wish this thing had that locking feature I was talking about earlier. Oh my god. Why? Why is that not a thing? Ugh. There we go. There we go. Yeah, this poor desk mat is definitely going to get beaten up. I should probably buy a few more of these so I can replace it when it gets too damaged from my carelessness. Or maybe I should just, you know, cover it in Captain tape before doing these. There we go. Look at that effortlessness right there. That is how solder removal should be. Yes, very good. Yeah, that was very, very effortless. Whew, yes. Alright. Into the iPod we go. Boom. Okay. Now where's my pick? There it is. Pull up on it and see if one of the sides wants to come up. Surprisingly, neither of them really want to come up. Oh, probably because that side's bent. Oh, both of the sides are bent over. Okay. So there's one side of it. Now the other one, I can probably just heat up this leg until this... Ow! Burning my flesh with the soldering iron. Jeesh. There we go. I swear, you do really well in one area of the day, and then the rest of the day decides, hey, I'm going to come and just smack you up and make sure you don't get too happy about it. I got my area nice and clean, and then I burn myself with the soldering iron, and ugh, man. Anyways, another battery for the battery box. Cool. As you can see, another battery slot, and another one of these. The only one of these games I've ever actually played before is Sid Meier's Pirates. But admittedly, I didn't play the Genesis version. I actually played the PC version, which I think is significantly newer than the Genesis version. How much is significantly newer? I'm not really sure. I'm not an expert on the game or anything, but I'm assuming, like, from what I could find online, it seems like the Genesis version is a port of the Amiga version, and I am by no means, well versed in Amiga software, so I have no idea how close of a port that would be. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be too far off, because they do share a lot of hardware when it comes down to it. Ooh, look at that! I actually got both of the contacts to last that time. Ooh, that's a good sign! Haha! Yeah, it was always worth celebrating when that happened, because, frankly, that never happened. At least not during the NES games or SNES games that I did. I would always have to do things like the paperclip trick or flooding it in with a lot of extra solder or just whatever else. But hey, that worked. That worked. Yay! Alright, so now I'm just going to have to cut this little piece here away. Okay. Perfect. Let's get some solder going on this thing. Yeah, okay. It really, piece of tape stuck to me. It's actually really exciting that happened, because, like I said earlier, I never got that to happen before. I think I got it to... Actually, that's not strictly true. I think I got it to happen one other time. And I was so excited by the fact that I got it to happen that I ended up breaking it on accident anyway. Breaking hardware is just such an upsetting accident to make. Like, that's what happened with the episode that was going to come out originally for this. I had the parts I needed. I was getting it put together. It was going super well, super smooth. I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. It's going to be done soon. Won't have to worry about it anymore. And then, ooh, hot. Ah, man. See, I'm trying to apply a little bit of pressure from the back, because I feel like it's not quite... There we go. That ought to work. Okay. Can't tell if that's working or not. Well, we'll test continuity here in a minute and make sure. Probably just need to add a little bit of extra solder. There we go. There we go. Okay. But yeah, like I said, it's just so upsetting. So upsetting when that happens. Okay. Oh yeah, I can already tell you that's going to be making contact. Yep. Like, that was very easy to tell just from looking that was going to work. Okay, now let's get the other side, which, yep, you can see the thing is still poking through. That's good. That's what we want. Let's put some solder down. Okay. Fortunately, a nice, easy project like this was just what the doctor ordered. As for why I procrastinated on these, the main reason was I didn't think these fit correctly. I knew for a fact these didn't. Well, yeah, at the time I knew Then I put it all up, kind of forgot about it, and went, oh, hey, I could try that again. And yeah, it still didn't fit. Those black ones were the ones I originally got, and they don't fit anything. I think they're meant to go on, like, motherboards or something. You know, something where the tolerances aren't as tight as the inside of a cartridge shell. But, I don't know. I've not yet found anything that those will work with. So let's just make sure that's... Yep. We got continuity. Boom. Alright, let's do some cleanup. But yeah, it's just... It's so upsetting when stuff like that happens. And... You know, I'm not one to try to obfuscate my failures on the channel. Like, if I mess up, I'll probably make a joke out of it in editing if I catch it. And if I don't catch it, I'll own up to it. Because here's the thing. At the end of the day, we're all humans. Mistakes are gonna happen. You know, it's... If there's one universal thing, it's that you're going to mess up at some point in your life. And it could be something minor and stupid, like, you know, what I'm doing here. You know, something very inconsequential. Or it could be something big. Just, you know, try to make sure your mess-ups are little things. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm just kind of rambling. Oh yeah, look, that's 2 burns in the polyester. Well, that's fine. It's just my workspace. I don't think it matters all that much. Especially with how dirty I'm expecting this thing to get in a relatively not long amount of time. Alright, get off. Really? Ugh. Really? Okay, I thought this one was going to be easy, but there we go. There we go. There we go. That'll do it. What is with the packaging they use for these? They do not want you to get at your own battery, man. Like, sheesh. See all that effort I had to go through just to take this thing out? Like, why? Why was all that necessary? Can't you just, you know, give me my bat? And there we go. Another 2032. Yeah, once again, putting it in the back. Putting it backwards. Don't know why I keep doing that. You'd think after 3 of these in a row, I would figure out which side is the front and which side is the back. Well, either way, I'm just happy that this is another project I'm going to be able to clear off my bench and not have to worry about anymore. Because I've been trying to clear as much stuff off of here as possible. Simply because I had a bunch of stuff up here, both relevant and irrelevant to the things I'm working on. And, you know, like I said before, people kept throwing stuff over here, and it was just really annoying. And eventually at one point I was just like, okay, enough is enough. I'm going to, you know, do something about this. And I did a good cleanup, but that was just a start. Alright, here's the Pirates cartridge. Really nothing special about it, except for... Whoa. Look at that. They didn't do a good job of putting that battery in the factory. That's crooked. All the other ones have been flush with the board. That's kind of funny, actually. And it's also making me wonder if these were assembled by hand. I'd never even considered that, actually. That back in the day, would it actually have been cost-effective to make these things by hand? Interesting. Like I said, not something I'd ever considered before, but I guess maybe. Guess maybe they thought, it's not worth the extra cost to, have it manufactured by machine. Well, I mean, early 1990 according to this motherboard. So, I don't know, because automation was already a thing back then, but for cartridge production, or like especially that battery, I don't know, I guess it could have been done by machine. It's just kind of funny that one messed it up so bad if that's the case. It becomes a lot more reasonable if it was hand soldered in there. Which, like I said before, is entirely possible, but I don't know. There's no way to know for sure. I mean, I guess I could find an old factory tour or something, but yeah. Like, I'm going to assume most of the chip was machine assembled. Or most of the chip. Most of the cartridge was machine assembled. And then small stuff like the battery probably was just done by hand. Because, when you're dealing with even small amounts of voltage that are going to passively go in, I could see that causing issues. And it might just be a smarter play to have some, factory worker do it for not very much. Yeah. Okay. Oh, shoot. I gotta be careful with this pick, man. This thing's sharp. Sheesh. Okay, I'm gonna try heating this up and pulling. See if that frees it. Oh, yep, that definitely freed it. Okay, same with this side. Just gonna heat it a little and wiggle it until, yep, there it goes. The last of these batteries for today. So we had 2 Sanyos and a Sony. No idea what the process was for, picking the manufacturer for these things. Honestly, I kind of just wonder if, well, I'm sure it was the lowest bidder, but it surprises me that Sony bid low. Well, I don't know. At the time, they were really pissed off at Nintendo, so I guess anything's possible. Or maybe it was just Sega with an abundance of caution being like, we should probably pick some high-quality components for our cartridges. If we're expecting players to, pay all this money. Thanks, Sega of 1990. If that's what you were doing. But man, 1990, what a great year for Sega that must have been. Ooh, good. Okay, neither of the legs broke. But it's too early to celebrate until we get it lined up. Which actually, that is... Oh, look, another one where the legs didn't break. Yes! Yes! Oh man, I'm starting to get good at this. I might not even need stuff like the paperclip trick after a while. I just had to get warmed up, I guess. Oh, this is fabulous, guys. This is good. This is great. I'm having a good time fixing these. Kind of makes me sad that this is the last one I have. But no matter, I'll be getting more stuff in the near future to work on. And hopefully I'll be finishing up a couple of ongoing projects I have here before long, too. One of them I've been putting off because, well, frankly, it's going to be expensive to get what I need to work on it next. So I just decided that until such time as I gain the resources to finish acquiring the stuff I need for it. Yeah, look how much emptier that is. Well, I guess I didn't show that from the start, but that was a lot fuller when I started, let me tell you. And now I'm worried I need to buy more of those. There you go. Kapton tape is sticking to my hand. But yeah, mostly it's just a cost thing. When I put off projects, usually it's either because I just don't have enough cash to just, you know, do it right then and there, or I'm having difficulty finding parts. This time I'm having no difficulty finding the parts I need. It is 100% a cost thing. And as for the other one, well, the part was broken, so yeah, you know. When your part breaks, you pretty much have to stop then and there. You don't really got much of a choice. Be it fortunate or unfortunate, that's up for debate. No, it's not. That's pretty much universally an unfortunate thing to have happened. So, continuity? Continuity? What? I'm going to try power cycling this. There we go. Whoa. Whoa! Oh, shoot. Oh, I think my battery's almost dead in here. Let me see if it'll still make beeps. Well, I guess the other way I can tell is if the little LCD screen goes dark. Yep, okay, that's continuity. So I guess I can still make it work, just kind of hacky. Okay, but that's good to know that I need to get a new battery for this thing. Jeesh. The one it came with sure didn't last long. Yep, okay. Man, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to look at what battery that needs real quick. Let's unplug the soldering iron since we don't need it anymore. And I'll put it into its holder over here. I got a nice holder that kind of elevates it up. It's made of metal, so it won't, you know, melt or anything. Won't melt or get burned or whatever. And yeah, I'm kind of annoyed at the fact that the battery in this is dead. I didn't get it all that long ago. But the question is, did it come with a battery or did I put one in it? I really don't remember. Oh, it came with one. Oh, and look at that. It's a cheap 9 volts. Good lord, this thing. Heavy duty, my butt. Alright, so not a big deal. I'll pick up a new 9-volt battery. I'll have to, because I need my multimeter for other stuff. So, whatever. I'll probably grab one from, shoot, what is that place called? Lowe's tomorrow. But yeah, I can't believe that. Either this thing has like really bad battery leak, you know, not like battery acid leak, but like power leak of some kind, or power just drains for no reason, or it was just a really cheap and crappy battery, which honestly I'm leaning towards the latter of those two. Alright, last battery we need. Fortunately, I got plenty of 2032s. Yay, Costco. Boom. Check that out. That is in like Flynn, my friends. Boom. Alright. Let's clean it up. And we'll send it on its way, and I'll send you guys on your way. So yeah, thanks for joining me on this little cleaning adventure that we've been on together. I'm not sure how amusing that was for you guys, but I don't know, maybe you either like repetitiveness or you were just interested by the process or something. Because I know when I was first getting a lot of my interest in soldering and whatnot, little casual videos like these really captivated my mind. Kind of filled my head with possibilities about the types of projects I would like to do someday. And, oh, I hope I get to work on one of those, or, oh, yeah, that's cool. I need to learn how to do that, or, any number of things. So, hopefully, this has positively impacted your day in some way. And if it did, then I can say that this video was a success. And we can put the batteries up. Wow, that actually took a lot of my 2032s. I knew it would. Oh, that was the other reason this project was on hold. I ran out of these batteries. I ran out of 2032s. And at the time, I had no cash to buy them with. And then I got a Costco membership, and suddenly, you're telling me I can get this pack of 2032s that's, like 12 of them for the same price that I would buy 3 at any other store? Well, sign me up! Like, it really was that simple. As soon as I could buy them and, have reasonable access to them for a reasonable price, that I would. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. So, hey, cool. And as I button up the last back, I really do want to wish you guys a good day, a good night, whenever it is you happen to be watching this. And I hope that you'll check out not only more videos from me, but other videos that we have. Henry and I have really been going into overdrive lately with content for the channel because, well, let's face it, it's something we like to do. We don't ever expect to get big doing this, but we do always expect to have fun. And that's what we hope you guys do too. So join me next time for whatever the next project is. And in case you forgot, Sid Meier's Pirates, Uncharted Waters, Jimfire, and Aerobiz were successfully completed today. Thank you oh so much for watching, and do be sure to leave a comment if you have one, and join us next time. Bye-bye!